Well, thank you everyone for coming back to join the second half of our workshop, session 2, part 2. And this is going to be more hands-on today, where we're actually going to make some digital badges for recognizing green skills in makerspaces across Africa. And your team is the same team as on Tuesday, and I'll quickly go through some introductions. I just want to say that the sessions are recorded. There will be a short break after about an hour of the call. And a little hint, if you have not joined on a laptop today, if you have joined on your phone, please try to switch to a laptop if you can, because each one of us will be participating in a badge canvas making exercise using Microsoft PowerPoint in the browser, and it will be difficult for you to do that using your phones, which is something we discovered in the drop-in session yesterday. So there's some little tips, and if we quickly introduce our presenters, Don, who you met on Tuesday, he's going to be starting some of the sessions today and demonstrating some of the badge building we're going to do. Catherine will be our expert in recognizing prior learning, and she will be dropping into some of the conversations to share her ideas for how this might, how the badges might be developed across different African countries. And myself, I will be your host and facilitator again, and we've gotten to know each other a little bit, but I have an additional role today of sort of facilitating some of the conversations around creating badges, with the idea that they would be adopted by the wider Makerspaces Africa and Internet of Production community. So the purpose of the project, to recap, is all about trying to recognize green skills by co-developing a framework for learning with Makerspace managers. And we're starting that project by creating 5 or more digital badges that allow Makerspace leaders to showcase their own green skills, but to also promote recognition of makers in areas such as repair, recycling, eco-design, energy efficiency, and many more types of green technologies and solutions. A couple of quick examples, just to give you a taste of what we're talking about, is that let's say that last year at your Makerspace, you ran a training on repurposing old batteries so that they could be used, or say household energy supply, backup household energy supply. And you now want to create a badge to issue to those makers who took part in the training, to show that they were participants, and hopefully to help them demonstrate their skills in repurposing, reusing batteries. Another example might be that a local clinic wants help maintaining its solar panels, so they can search for people who have prior experience of doing just that, and they can verify where the individuals who say they've had training in solar panel maintenance, they can verify where they got that training, what the content of the training was, and therefore get an indication of who it is that they want to contract and to hire. So those are a couple of quick examples. Now, I want to show you a couple of the outputs of our first session. The session was very much all about an introduction to badging, the many and very different ways that digital badges can be used, and some of the benefits of badging, whether that's skills recognition, either in formal systems or informal systems, any kind of accomplishment or participation, the features of badges such as endorsements or affiliations, or even being able to have certificates with QR codes that can be that allow people to verify that they received these badges, to see who issued the badge and find out more about them. But I want to show you that you should have received, if you have completed your application, if you attended the first session, we asked you to fill in this form, which I will put into the chat. And it is an online application form where we ask you for a little bit of feedback about the session. And many of you have already done this. And when you do this, you will be issued a badge. Let's show you. This is the form. So your name, email address, what I learned, how I can use what I learned, and any suggestions for us.
Andrew?
Yeah.
For some reason, we're still on the slide that is about the solar panels.
Okay.
But with me, I'm in the one for instructions.
So some people can see the form?
Yes, I can see the form.
The web browser? Okay.
I can see it now too, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's possibly some lags in the internet connectivity. So I'm trying to post the there's the form, there's the application form. 20 people who attended, so 20 out of the 30 who attended on Tuesday have already filled in this form. The link is in the chat, and then that will have invited you to go to a website called Open Badge Passport. Hopefully, if the connection is good enough, you will see the homepage there. And when you log into that, you might have to create an account when you are asked to claim your badge. But then you're using this open source software called Open Badge Passport. When you log into that, you will see your collection of badges, and you will see your badge for participating on Tuesday. Here's mine. There it is. So there's the design. There's my name, issued by the Internet of Production Alliance. The learning objectives, what type of badge it is, and here's the session recording, the slides that we used, and the badge canvas toolkit. And then you can see some of the organizations that are supporting this project including the Royal Academy of Engineering and the United Nations Environment Programme. So let me switch back to the slides. So that's hopefully your session 1 badge. And if you haven't got that, I see Mary, she's got hers. That's great. And let's go now to show you what we did in the drop-in session very, very quickly, because we're going to be doing a lot of this today. If you attended the drop-in session yesterday, thank you very much. It wasn't a required part of this workshop, but it gave participants a bit of extra time to learn and practice doing digital badges. So today you will all be using in a online Microsoft PowerPoint document, slideshow. You'll be using the Badge Canvas toolkit. And what we did yesterday is we went into an example that came from Janvier in Rwanda about prototyping for solar photovoltaic, for solar panel systems. And we made some notes, we put some ideas together. We went onto the Badge Canvas and started filling in the different sections of the Badge Canvas with ideas about what the badge should be like. So this is an easier way to do it than perhaps, to work collaboratively to design the badges, than perhaps going straight into the online platform for making badges. Once we'd come up with a design, we used this analysis view in the canvas that we'll share with you today to ask some questions about our badge and to figure out what improvements we could make with the badge. So yesterday we would go back, once we'd done some analysis, we would go back to the canvas and we would make some changes. So that's what we did in the drop-in session yesterday, and I want to thank everybody who was part of that for bringing their skills and taking the time to practice that. Okay, for today, I would like to take a moment to ask you all to introduce yourselves, but this time, rather than saying your gender, this time the fourth question is going to be, what, if any, green skills do you have experience of in your makerspace or related to your makerspace, or that you personally might have? Have you, for example, done plastic recycling, or looked at sustainable materials, or e-waste solutions, or solar panels, or solar water heating, or permaculture? So if I could ask you now to use the chat function in Microsoft Teams, if you open up the chat and then write your name, your makerspace, your country, and any green skills that you have developed or that your makerspace has worked on recently. But Angela, maybe I could ask you to say verbally what green skills you have worked on with your makerspace or in your career previously, please. I know your makerspace is quite new, perhaps.
Yes, it is. Okay, my name is Ekeme Angela Utemiata. I'm from Now University of Nigeria. I'm the Fab Lab coordinator. We just got a plastic recycling plant, although we tried our hands on furniture. We made the furniture out of PET plastics. That's like, we recycled all these PET bottles and some other additives and plastic, and we recycled them into planks and panel of plastics, and we now couple them into furniture like coffee tables, outdoor benches for gardens, and the rest of it.
This is
Thank you.
great. Thank you very much, Angela. And Martin, would you like to say something? I know since you don't have access to the chat, please.
All right, thank you. Yeah, at Fab Lab, we had a program called eSTEM for children to learn how to connect solar components to the end. It's a program which we designed for grade 4, but we also taught it in high school and university as well. So there was solar panel and all the components, including charge controller, battery, and everything else. We've also been doing a lot of recycling of metal, that is changing old bicycles into three-wheeler. So that is also one area that we've been working. So, well, maybe if I missed something, other members of Fab Lab will say.
Thank you. That's great. Now, also from the people writing in the chat, we have more plastic recycling, agro-waste innovations, waste management, solar panel and installations in Rwanda, more plastic recycling, repair and maintenance, sustainable materials, and then we have data-driven environmental monitoring, better decisions for infrastructure monitoring with an underwater robot, which is great. Nasser Abdallah, could you say a little bit about what your agro-waste innovation was, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is Nasser Abdallah, working with IOME 254 here in Kenya. The green skills, plastic recycling and agri-waste innovation. So in the agri-waste innovations is looking into circular economy of the trash to cash phenomenon. So much of the waste, especially agricultural producers, we all know that Kenya is quietly involved in agricultural practices. So we do harvest quite a lot and export. So sometimes we don't consider the aftermath of the waste that we usually leave it to rot and also dump and compile, which sometimes might later cause diseases and pandemics. So the question is, how do we also empower innovators to come up with green solutions around the waste? So there have been so much innovations around the same. So many innovators, like for example, an example I can say is they're turning sugarcane burgers into medical gauze, which can be used in hospitals. Some are turning banana fibers into sanitary towels and many others.
Fantastic examples. Thank you very much. Mary, could you tell us a little bit about what you mean by sustainable materials, please?
Okay, thank you, Andrew. On sustainable material, as NASA just stated, like repurposing banana into pads, but our focus at Fab Lab is repurposing or moving away from using synthetic seat belts used in cars, and we are using sisal on the same, yeah. And also like dyeing in terms of textile, we are using natural dyes rather than using synthetic products.
Thank you very much. And we heard from Mike at IOME 254 that you have also been working on textile waste. Mike, could you say a little bit about that, please?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So IOME is based in. We are based in an island, that's Mombasa. So Mombasa being an island close to the ocean, and that we realized a lot of people go to the beach. They're able to clothes go to the ocean. So it's a challenge that came in during the Mombasa Ocean Festival. So where now, as IOME Fab Lab, we brought in two innovators to come in with ideas of how we can solve textile waste, especially that go and because most of textiles are from plastic, that's polyesters. So yeah, currently what the team is doing, or the different innovators are doing, they are making, they're reusing and recycling them into different into different items. From this, if it's a jeans, they turn your jeans to a hat. If it's if they found some pants, they turn it to different items. Things like even some making shoes out from jeans. We are making different items, and we're able to showcase and sell those products.
That's fantastic, Mike. Thank you very much. And lots of examples there. So I think an area around textile recycling would be interesting. And then let's go back to Wilson. Hopefully his microphone is working now. Could you say a little bit about your green skill that you've mentioned, please, Wilson?
Thank you so much. My name is Wilson from Fabra, Rwanda. I contributed to one project in Rwanda where we made solar-powered devices. We called it the Technology Buzzer Farm. These are small devices we installed in farmers monitor agriculture, the automated inputs in the farm. 19 and now still in use by the farmers, and it's technology made here. So they are powered by solar panels devices.
Okay, so I'm going to read out a word and you can give me a thumbs up if you would like to work on a badge on that topic. We'll do 4 groups. We'll have solar panels, agricultural waste, sustainable materials, textile recycling, environmental monitoring. I'm going to work with Don for a little bit, but each one of those 4 categories will have a breakout room. We'll move into those breakout rooms. You'll each have an online PowerPoint that you can all edit simultaneously. And then Catherine, Don, and I will be dropping into the different breakout groups to facilitate discussions, and then we're going to come back together. So we're going to be doing this for a little while, and at this point I'm going to hand over to Don to say a bit more.
So the first thing is to say you can earn a new badge today, and it's a co-creator badge, because that's essentially what you're doing today, is co-creating. The way to earn the badge is to fill in the badge application form, of which you see the QR code on the left and the tiny URL shortener there. And we'll advertise this again later. I just wanted to review that what we're talking about today, I'll try and make this bigger so you can see it, is a spectrum of recognition. So there's recognition that can work just within your Fab Lab. There's recognition that can work across Fab Labs. There's recognition that could work in your community or your region. And sometimes and often people end up defaulting to formal recognition, and sometimes semi-formal recognition is good enough. If there's a collection of organizations that has co-created a recognition scheme, then that's good enough. That's like local currency that can be used. So a person who earns a badge, if they go to another organization that belongs to that sort of belief system or trust system, then they have portability of their skills. So that's the thing I'm trying to get at. You have formal on the left. You maybe want to later get credit for it at the university, for example, and there are protocols for doing that. But I think what we're focused on today is what is good enough? What is a way of recognizing the skills that people learn, combination of problem solving, learning a little bit as they need it, working with others, etc. And these are some examples for doing that. I just wanted, and again, you have the actual slides in your decks there that you can check out. But this is sort of descriptions of what you would normally expect to see inside badges that, for example, would be application and performance. So that's application of learning, active contribution. That's actually the badge you're going to earn today. It's an application, it's applied learning badge. You're applying the concepts of recognition in the co-creation of a badge. So learning in the flow of work. But it could also be a portfolio, sort of a mini portfolio of, I think I have this competency, I think I have demonstrated the requirements of this achievement, here is my evidence. Somebody can look at that and say, yes, that's good, you have this, or more information needed. So you can, do that. And then you could also have just organized learning. So Tuesday's webinar was a form of organized learning, which wasn't strenuously assessed, but it's a signal that somebody is engaged in a process. And then you can have a number of other things where it could be down at the bottom, community service and things like that. Okay. So the only other thing I would emphasize at this point is, in terms of skills, this project is about skills for green skills for maker leaders. But for today's exercise, I think, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, it could be for makers in your makerspace. So it could be, what does it take to set up a plastics recycling program from a leader's point of view? Or it could be, what are the specific skills that makers in a makerspace doing plastics recycling would need to have in order to do this? And that relates to things like safety and types of making, different machinery, etc. So as you work with this badge canvas, this has been developed over a number of years. This is the core slide, basically, and the center column is really the key element that we need. Is what is the name of the badge? What is its mission? What does it say about the person who holds the badge? What have they achieved? What have they learned? And then the bottom, the criteria is, what does it take to earn this badge in an authentic way? What kinds of requirements? Is there assessment? Is there evidence that's required, et cetera? And some of these options are provided over down here on the left. The first thing, maybe you want to just sort of brainstorm ideas without any sort of format or whatever, just get some ideas down on the page, little variations on your topic. Then you would graduate to the second slide, slide number, actually in yours, I think it might be slide 6. And you would look at things like, okay, for you as a makerspace issuing a badge, for example, if you're the issuer, why would you be doing this? And how does this help the people that you're recognizing? For them, why would they bother to earn it? Is there something that how would it, who are they and how will it help them? And then who might they show that badge to in the future? Would they show it to a local college or university? Would they show it to an employer? And why would that employer believe it? And why would that help that employer, for example? Or maybe it's something in the community where you're getting community support and it would help somebody standing in the community. So things like that. So just technically speaking, it would be good to elect a key secretary, but all of you can contribute to this, so you can find different spots. Every sort of box here has a text box overlay, so you see me sort of typing here, and you can add things like that. Similarly, on this page, every single one of these boxes, I can navigate down here and start typing as well. And so the key thing is to quick notes, and then work here. Think about why you're doing it. It's probably worth doing that before diving in. So think about why you're issuing, why they're earning, why somebody else would look at it and think this is meaningful or helpful to them. And then a nice snappy name, really short. You can type here as well, and similarly. And down here, you could sort of have, Andrew was doing this yesterday. You can have people doing different parts of the canvas, being assigned to do different parts of the canvas. So writing a good, concise description of what the achievement is. What does it say about the holder of the badge? And then here, this is what I generally call the beating heart of the badge. What does it take to earn it? When somebody looks at it, will they be impressed? Or will they think, oh, well, that's a signal, it's good. Or, gosh, there's not much substance there. That's why we say badges are very transparent. Tags, those are just keywords, key phrases that you would want to, if somebody's scanning it quickly, they would understand. Expiry, this is something that's not often used, but it could be good for health and safety, or could be good for like a formal certification. These are all optional, by the way. The center column is required. The optional column on the right, these can add value to a badge, but maybe not. Now, is there a industry standard? Is there a competency framework? In Europe, they have Green Comp, for example, which is kind of interesting. Would that add value to your badge if you align to that? Or is there a Makerspace framework you would align to? Endorsement. Could be quite important. This is third parties saying that this badge is good and why they say it's good. So if you get a name organization that says it's great. So here in Canada, we talk about chambers of commerce or industry sectors and things like that, saying this is good. Could be a government. Well, government might have a long process getting government to sign on to it, but other organizations, again, it's that semi-formal. Is that good enough? Are you adding value incrementally? Languages. Typically, English is obviously very popular. You could have other languages like Kiswahili and languages like that, if that helps. The idea is the badge would open in the default language and then could be switchable to other languages. So if somebody has trouble with the original language, they can interpret it. And then once you've got that, as I say, the key area is the center column. You can add optional info on the right column. Once you've done that, it's good to go on to the next slide. And as Andrew says, just analyze what you've got. How does it support portability of recognition? Who should be at the table? Who are the stakeholders? How would you work with other stakeholders? Would you, or would you just work by yourselves? Maybe other makerspaces, etc. And then why? What are the drivers in your area? Are people looking for this kind of recognition? In what ways can you leverage that? How will it benefit? Andrew likes always looking at the risks. So why will it never work? And how can you get that barrier out of the way? That kind of thing. Okay, so I think that's it, Andrew. In terms of where we're at, is just splitting out to the groups and getting started.
To bring us back together, the groups are closing and people are being moved back into this room. My only wish, I think, at the moment, is that I wish we were all in the same room together doing this in person, rather than being in lots of breakout rooms and using PowerPoint. But hopefully some of you had an understanding of what was in the badge canvas and how it could be used to informally create ideas together for people to come up with badge designs. And Kwaku, I really want to thank you for your comment, because as a facilitator and a host for this, I've been really stressed out for the last half an hour because of the technical challenges. So to say that at least the concept is clear, thank you for saying. I appreciate that. I'm grateful to you. But for now, I'd like us to go back to Don, who will tell us a little bit about the Open Badge Factory, so that once you've finished doing your prototyping on your canvas, which if we were in person, you would be using Post-it notes and you would be using pens and all around the table together, talking to each other. Once you have that, you then take your canvas and you put it in to Open Badge Factory, which you will all be invited to access at some point if you want to continue developing badges. So I'm going to hand over to Don now. Don, over to you, please.
Great. Okay, thank you. I'm just going to share the screen, and I just want to talk about the visuals for a little bit, just because that's the fun part. Not that this other stuff is not fun. But let me just, this is a document we share. Does everybody see this?
Yes, and
Okay.
we see the Mozilla Firefox window with Open Badges visual design guidelines. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, great. So basically, just to say that I like to say their documents dressed up as pretty pictures, and it's good to have a visual that captures what you're trying to convey. Technically speaking, it should be a square. It should be something in the foreground, any shape in the foreground, but the background should be a transparent square as a PNG file. We recommend that this size, and then maybe a larger size for other purposes like print when you're advertising it or PowerPoints or something. Foreground should be opaque, background should be transparent, and you can have, just want to show you here, you're trying to show the look and feel of what you're talking about. You're trying to indicate to people what they'll expect to see when they get into it. So I'm just going to switch from that and show you the tool that we're using, which is PowerPoint again, to design the visual badges. And so you can have different shapes to your badges that can mean different things. You can have different icons, indicate levels and things like that. You can come up with your own badge language for it. And Learning Agents has come up with these sort of hexagon shapes that we offer as an option to people. And so far, Andrew likes that. So what we've done is we've started to customize that to the purpose. So this would be a certification one in the colors of, this would be more like what's called a micro-credential. But the one that people were earning on Tuesday is this one, which is from our badge language. This is organized learning with a bit of reflection. So this is a participant badge. And then if we look today, just to show you that we're evolving this, I got feedback from Andrew that the Africa icon in the background was a little hard to see. So we've come up with this version, which now reflects the font, the branding of the Internet of Production Alliance. And then it makes it a little more obvious. And this looks a little different. It's a performance badge application and performance because you've actually been doing something. You've been working on something, not just listening to me talk like what a lot of people had to do as well. So that's just a quick visual. I'm now logged into the platform, and this is where you would end up uploading your badges. And I'm just going to take you through a bit of an exercise where we, the PowerPoint I have best access to right now is the one that was done yesterday. And I'm going to see if I can find that again. Hang on. Oh yeah, it's in the browser, I think. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just gonna again bring this up. There we go. So this is the one we were working on yesterday, and Andrew was playing secretary. So these were the notes that were done, just working in one group. Hopefully that'll come up soon. There we go. Some quick notes about solar PV system prototyping and design, and here is the here's what they came up with in terms, so they went through the perspectives. What we're going to focus on here is transferring this information in the middle to the online badge. So basically, we have creator tools where we're going to be spending our time right now. Just checking my time here. And we have the badges that we've set up for the workshops all ready to issue. And again, I encourage you to do that. And if I look, we have a way to look at the badge templates that we have in here to support the creation of badges. And this is, I think, Andrew, it makes sense to make this an application and performance badge. So I'm going to copy that. And what it has is a lot of, I would say, it's stuffed with scaffolding to help you make your first badge. And this is something you can customize as you go. But essentially, this first page is the metadata of the badge. You have the name, you have the description, you have the tags that we were talking about, you have whether there's an expiry, achievement type, but we won't worry about that right now, and then the criteria, which I often call the beating heart of the badge. So what I'm going to do is now start transferring this information to the badge. So if I go back here, I'm going to change the title. We have hinting for what the title should be. But, oops, sorry, not that. Good. Copy. Solar PV prototyping badge. Yeah, there we go. So solar PV prototyping badge, nice and short. So this is where we sort of tell people what the fields should have. And, you know, after the first couple of times, you don't really need to see it anymore. So just how you can copy the badge in. We're going to make it English only, so it already is English, but we could add another language if we wished. This is the hinting for the name. We already have a nice short name that won't be truncated in certain contexts. You don't want to make them too long. And the description, that's this field, which actually says what the holder of the badge knows and can do as a result of holding the badge. We have a badge image, which I will end up uploading a PNG file there. I'm going to leave that alone, just given the time we have. But that's where you would upload the result of your design work. That's just a placeholder image at the moment. Tags, I'm just going to copy the tags that we have down here. And just to say that, again, this is just if somebody's scanning quickly or if a machine is looking at it and is looking for tags, it can process what's in the badge. It's say if it's looking for people who are qualified. Expiration time, I'm going to leave that unchecked. Okay, and then alignments, we won't worry about that now. That is an interesting topic, but we won't worry about it now. We'll skip over this stuff. Again, some of it's quite academic, which could be good for some universities and colleges. But right now we've got a description, we've got some tags, and now here we would put the substance of the badge. Actually, I do have the description from the other. So that's this, come on. So I'm going to just adjust this text a bit as I add it. That's up here in description. So I would say badge holder has prototyped a PV system and can explain how they did it to others. For example, could be maybe another sentence, another 2 sentences. You don't want it to be too long. And now here, this is where I would set the criteria. This uses something called Markdown, which is HTML for the rest of us. And the way you end up seeing what the badge looks like in preview mode. So we're starting to see this badge holder as prototype. There's the tags, and we're starting to see headings here and links, etc. And that's the markup that's used in something called Markdown. You can even have little graphics in there. So essentially, again, I'm just mindful of the time, so I'm not going to go at great length what's available here. But maybe what I'll do is see here. I'm just going to drop it into the top of the thing. Let's just see here. And it's type of recognition, applied learning. And this part. And take that out. And I'm just going to show how we look here, the learning activities. I'll just drop in what I copied here, and this is how you would make a list, an ordered list. You just have to put in one, and then it renders the numbers when it renders the HTML. Just to give you an idea, I'm doing this very rushed. Normally we would be taking more time to do this. Okay, so and then we say whether it's assessed, etc. This is all about formatting, so I'm just going to get rid of that. These are just hints for how to format your credential. And now I'll start rendering that preview. And this should start looking a bit more like the final badge. So type of recognition, applied learning. These are the activities. You notice it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now. We should have something about assessment, or whether it's assessed or not. And then the duration as expressed, usually in hours, but sometimes you can talk about so many hours over such and such a period. So that is the key metadata. And all I would do now is I have a message that would go out when people earn this badge, and I just need to customize that. And now I have essentially a badge that's ready to issue. So I'll save that. And the way I would issue it manually is to go to under Issuer Tools, and it's a different workflow. But I would go to issue this badge. I would maybe make some details. I would select recipients, and you can just paste in a whole list of people here, for example, who could get the badge at the same time, and then maybe adjust the email message, likely not, and then just issue the badge. So issue badge, if I would do this now, it's I'll hide it from reports because I don't want it cluttering up. When this orange thing turns to green, the badge will have gone out. So that's essentially it. So you brainstorm on the canvas, whether electronically or on paper. You transfer that information to online, and we can have a step later where we do this as we complete these ones we've started today. And then you can issue the badge through a variety of means. Okay, I think I can pass back to you now, Andrew.
Thank you, Don. And yeah, what you've just seen is Don using Open Badge Factory to create a badge, and hopefully you can see that using the platform that we have selected for this project, that you would be able to make these badges and issue badges yourselves. If you need to get in touch with me, my email address is there, but obviously it was on the registration page, and you've had some emails from me already, and my contact details are in my email signature in the emails. I just want to say a big thank you to you all for your patience, for your interest, and good luck with your work. Thank you to African Makerspaces for partnering with us, and to the Unipod community for partnering with us. Thank you for your patience, for your attention, and have a great rest of the week. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.